Star 94.1.
Hey friends, it's me Alyssa and this is Live in Local Atlanta. I'm here with my amazing friend. She's a TikTok sensation and relationship expert, Shay. And we are talking all about love. We're creeping up on the holidays and you don't want to make a mistake and get a cuddle buddy that is not right for you. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Swiping culture is yucky. Is that right or wrong?
I mean, a lot of women feel like it is yucky.
Absolutely. I can say I'm so glad I'm married. I don't have to deal with that anymore. But there are so many people out there who still feel lost, who still feel like they haven't found that person yet, who they're not sure where to find that person. And this is kind of your area of expertise. So let's jump right into it and talk about, what are people experiencing in this world of digital dating?
It's funny because there's so many people, more people than ever, that are dating online. But I get a lot of reports of women having horrible experiences online. And what I've found is it's because they have no clue what it is they're doing. And if you have no idea that there's a science to actually online dating, then you're not going to attract the quality matches that you want to have. And so at my agency, we help our clients to set up their profile. We do the matches for them. We interact with the matches. And there's a certain way that you have to train the algorithm in order to get higher quality matches. There's a certain way that you have to interact with the matches in order to be able to identify the quality matches that you're going to actually want to go out on a date with.
Absolutely. So you really are an expert in the science of love. Can we talk about how did you find your calling for this? Let's start there. I think this is such an incredible, profession to be in. You're really in people's lives. You're just really inside of people's lives. And I think it's such a unique quality and trait certain people have. And I want to know more about that.
Well, I kind of got into this by accident. Like, I was never planning on being a relationship guru or getting into this business. I grew up in a very dysfunctional, abusive household where I watched my mother be abused on a daily basis. Sometimes I would see her get spanked with a belt, and it taught me that love equaled pain, that if I wanted love, I had to earn it. So when I grew up, I was attracting one painful, dysfunctional, toxic relationship after another. And then I found myself homeless with a baby. And as I held her, feeling like a complete failure, I made a decision right then and there that I was going to stop the generational pattern of dysfunctional, painful relationships in our family. And so I'm a science girl. I graduated pre-med biology. I was supposed to be a cardiologist, but I guess I'm a different kind of cardiologist now. And so I did a dating experiment where I went on 100 dates in 3 months, a little over 3 months, and interviewed over 4,000 men, women, and couples, and read hundreds of love, dating, and relationship books, books on psychology, books on anthropology of attraction. And what I was able to come up with was a formula based in science for effectively being able to get any man to fall for you in less than 30 days. And so when I'm teaching women, I'm teaching them that dating should not be a game of Russian roulette. Like, there literally is a science for getting a man to be drawn to you and picking the quality man that's right for you.
Absolutely. 100 dates in about 3 months is pretty intimidating. I have to ask, who do you remember the worst date? What was the best date? What was the one consistent thing out of all 100 dates you were like, this is science?
Okay, so it's so funny because I got so good that I can tell if a guy was like a jerk or a Build-A-Bear. That's my term that I call men who are less than the kind of quality guys that you want to date. So I could tell them in less than like 30 seconds of them walking towards me. I could already tell if it was a good or bad guy. But one of my most impactful dates that I think a lot of women can resonate with is that I was on a date with a guy, and it was going well, like we were having a good time. However, I went to go pay for the date, and the guy was like, "Oh God, you did the thing." And I was like, "What did I do?" He said, "You basically showed me that you don't know how to be in partnership and that you can't trust me as a man to really be that man for you, because that's an insult to me that you are even trying to pay for the date." We live in this society where women more and more are stepping out of their feminine energy and stepping in an energy of masculinity, and with a mindset that we're trying to appeal to get the approval of men who are not even in their masculine energy, who are like pay 50-50 for a date. And here was a guy who was like, "No, like I understand my role as a man, and I invited you out, I expect to pay, and you basically insulted me by offering to pay. And he never called me again, but he did teach me a very valuable lesson about understanding my time, understanding my value, understanding what it is to be a woman standing in my feminine power, and understanding what it is that I deserve and how I deserve to be treated on a date.
Absolutely. There are two buzzwords that stuck out to me when I was doing, some research about behind the work you do, and one is biochemical reaction. What is this? Because it's so sciencey. It's in another world for me. So what is this word and what does it mean?
So it's so interesting how it makes sense to people that our desire to eat, sleep, and everything else is a biochemical reaction that allows our body to naturally do what it does, but they don't understand that the same behavior operates when it comes to love. So one of the things that I break down to teach women is that there's 6 phases of every relationship, and there's a biochemical reaction for falling in love for each of the phases. So the first phase is the attraction phase, and in the attraction phase, he sees you, he's attracted to you because you've triggered his testosterone. His testosterone is his sex hormone. That's what drives him to want sex with you. A lot of women have romanticized it like, oh my God, maybe he's the one. Maybe it's like The Notebook or Love and Basketball or all these romantic ideas. And it's like, no, it's not. He doesn't know you. He wants sex. At the end of the day, that's what he's driven for. And so as you move into the second phase, which is the courting phase, his primary goal, whether he admits it or knows it or not, his body is driving him to want to have sex with you, to keep the human population going. Right? However, when you understand this premise, as a woman, you understand that your goal is to trigger vasopressin in him because vasopressin is his bonding hormone. And the more he's producing that vasopressin, the more he's bonding with you. But just producing the vasopressin isn't enough. You have to produce the receptors that catch the vasopressin, that catch the dopamine. Well, what a lot of women don't understand is that takes time. On average, according to Dr. Luann Brizendine and Don Maslar, it takes at least 3 months minimum for him to be able to produce the receptors. So women who are going out on a date and then jumping in bed the next day, they are setting themselves up for heartbreak and for failure because he literally biochemically hasn't even had time to fall in love with her. When he's falling for her during the courting phase as he's trying to get her, then the biochemical reaction that happens is his testosterone starts to drop and his serotonin drops, which means that he becomes more nurturing, like a woman. Like he's constantly thinking about you. He wants to make you happy. And the more he makes you happy, like the more he does something like buy you flowers before he takes you out on a date or picks a nice restaurant and you show appreciation, like genuine appreciation, then it triggers dopamine in him and it makes him want to do more for you and it causes a release in more vasopressin. So he's actually falling for you as he starts to do for you. But one of the things women do, especially in this, I'm a woman, hear me roar, I'm Miss Independent, operating highly in my masculine energy, she thinks that now I want to reciprocate. So now I want to start giving you gifts. Now I want to start taking you out on dates. Now I want to start doing things. Well, what that does is it interrupts his biochemical process of falling for you. Men don't fall in love the way that women fall in love. And so now he doesn't even know why he's not really into her the same way, but then he starts to lose interest in her. And even if they go on, he's lukewarm. So she's not even being satisfied because he's no longer mentally or emotionally pouring into her. And there's other phases that I break down that take a little bit longer. But when you understand that there is a science to this process of the beginning when you first meet him, to even getting the ring and getting married, to even 50 years from then being happily married with a man who adores you and who's really into you and who still makes your heart flutter and who you're excited to love and pour into, then that starts from the beginning and it starts from understanding that there is a science to attraction.
That was a lot to unpack. The key takeaway I took from that is, ladies, don't spoil your man, okay? Don't spoil him in the beginning, at least.
At all.
Okay, never. The expert is saying never. But I want to switch gears a little bit, have a little fun with you, and we're going to play I'm going to throw some rapid fire questions at you, and you tell me the first thing that comes to mind. What's the formula for a perfect date?
The formula for the perfect first date or just any date?
I would say let's go past the first date, any date.
Okay, the formula for any date is first having the right person. who you could be friends with, who you can enjoy their presence. And that being the type of man who's considerate enough to be willing to plan a date, that he has from talking to you, from getting to know you, he knows the things that will make you happy, and he's actually thoroughly planned out a fun date that you can enjoy, where you can talk, where you can connect, and where you can have fun with each other.
Are you a sports car person or an SUV person?
Very SUV.
SUV. Are you an eco-friendly SUV person or just regular gas?
You know what? I don't know. Like, as long as it drives fast and it's a nice car, I'll take it.
Absolutely. What would you say are the top 3 qualities any person should look for in a partner?
The top 3 qualities is valor, his character, and a man who you can be compatible with on all 5 levels.
I love it. I love it. How can people get in touch with you? Where can they follow you?
Yes.
You're a TikTok sensation after all. How can people stay in touch with you?
Well, I'm at Shay Your Love Diva everywhere. That's SHAYYOURLOVE Diva, DIVA, everywhere. And if they want to reach me personally, they can always go on my website, ShayYourLoveDiva.com.
I love it. I love it. Of course, you can stay up to date with me at itsme_LissaD. This has been Live and Local Atlanta. If you want to get exclusive conversations just like this one with my friend Shay, make sure you download the free Odyssey app today. That's AUDACY inside the App Store. And follow Star 94 Atlanta. And follow Star 94 Atlanta across all social media at Star 94 Atlanta. We'll see you guys next time.
Star 94.1.